guys, welcome back to this series on C programming. In this video, we will learn to work with files in C programming. More specifically, we will learn to perform file operations like read content from the file, write content to the file. This is going to be an interesting video, so let's get started. In C programming, there are usually three steps involved while working with files. Open a file, perform file operation, close the file. Let's first learn to open a file. We use the file pointer to work with the file. Don't worry, you don't have to understand all about this pointer. Just remember this syntax for now. Now, once we create a file pointer, we then use the fopen function to open the file. Let me show you an example. Here I have this test.txt file. Now let's open this file. What I'll do is, I'll first create the file pointer, file pointer, so file asterisk fptr. Now I'll use fopen function. Fptr is equals to fopen parenthesis inside quotation test.txt and another attribute that is r, that means read. Basically, opening a file is nothing but connecting our C program to the external file. In this case, we are connecting our main.c file to this test.txt file. Now, you can see this R. This R here indicates that we are opening the file in read mode. So, we can only perform the read operation on the file. One thing you need to remember is that while opening the file in read mode, you need to make sure the file is already present in the specified location. Otherwise, the fopen function will return null. Let me show you. Now let me first complete this program. So I'll add here has include stdio.h and int main inside curly braces return 0. And I'll cut this 2 lines of code and I'll paste it there. So let's make it more clearer. Okay, so now I'll add an if-else statement to check if file open is successful or not. So here I'll add if fptr is not equals to null, then we'll print file open successful. File open successful. Else we'll print file open unsuccessful. Unsuccess. Now let's run this code. As you can see, file open is successful because test.txt file is present here. Now let me change the file to something else. Let's say test2.txt and I'll save this and I'll run this again. As you can see, this time we get file open unsuccessful because the file does not exist and fopen returns null. By the way, do you want to take your programming journey to the next level? Watching tutorials is fine, but it has one limitation. It's hard to learn and practice together at the same time. Lucky for you, we have recently launched Programiz Pro that provides tutorials along with quizzes and challenges which will help you practice and test your learning in real time. Also, the course includes projects to give you an experience of how programming works in the real world. And for our YouTube subscriber, we are giving 50% off on the yearly plan. Sign up by scanning this QR code or use the link in the video description to claim your discount. Now that we know how to open a file in read mode, let's read its content. In C, we use the fget function to read the content from the file. Let me show you an example. Here you can see the code from our earlier program. Now I'll change this test2 to test.txt. Now I'll remove this file open successful print statement from if condition. Now let's use fgets function to read the content of this file. So first we need to create an array to store the file content. So I'll add here char content square bracket 1000. Now let's read the content from this file to this array. So I'll write here fgets bracket content comma 1000 comma fptr, and I'll close this. Then I'll print it using printf statement. So %s comma content. I'll save this. Here fgets read the content of the file and stores it in the content array, and this 1000 is the size of the file that is to be read. Since our array is 1000, I have kept it 1000, and fptr is the pointer used to read the file. Now let's run this code. You can see we get the output. This is the text file. Here you can see in this file, this is the text file is the first sentence. We are only able to get the first sentence from the file because here we have used fgets, and fgets can only read the first sentence at a time. If we need to read all the lines, we can use a loop. Let me show you. So first I'll use this line as the condition of while loop. So I'll write here while and put this line inside parenthesis. Here fgets function reads the content of the file. If the file read is successful, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Hence our loop runs until there is some content to be read from the file. Now inside the loop, I'll print the file content. So I'll cut this and put it here. Now I'll save this. Now let's run this code. As you can see, we are able to read all the content of the file. Once a read operation is completed, it is a good practice to close the file. We use the fclose function to close the file. Here I'll add fclose function at the end. fptr. Now let's learn to write content to a file, but first we need to open our file in write mode. This means we need to use w as the second parameter instead of r with the fopen function. Let me show you. Here this test.txt file already exists, but if the file did not exist, a new file is created. Let me show you. I'll change this name to new file.txt. Now this new file will be created. I'll save this and I'll run this. You can see new file.txt file is now created here. Now let's add content to this file. We use fput function to write content to a file. Let me show you. I'll write here fputs parenthesis inside quotation. I'll write I love C programming, comma fptr. Let me add one more message. Here I'll add fputs inside parenthesis. I'll write C programming series by Programiz is the best. So here comma fptr, and don't forget to close the file. So fclose fptr. Now let's run this code. Now when you open this file, you can see the file now includes the message. However, the message looks a bit odd. So in this file, I'll add here \n, and I'll save this, and let's run this again. Now you can see the file looks clean now. Here remember that initially the file did not exist. when we run the program for the first time, a new file is created. We then added the content to the file using fputs, and when we run the program for the second time, adding \n, the initial content of the file is erased and new content is added. So whenever we open a file in write mode, if the file already exists, all content will be erased. Let me show you that again. Now I'll change this message from I love C programming to new message 1, and I'll change this to new message 2, and I'll save this and I'll run this. Now you can see the old content is now replaced by new content. Now to revise what you have learned in this program, here is a programming task for you. Create a new file in write mode and add content. C is a fun programming language and I love using C language. Close the file, again open the file in read mode and read the content of the file. You will find the answers to this question in our GitHub repository, and also if you want to revise this concept, all these programs will be there as well. I'll put the link in the video description below. Now that we have reached the end of this video, it's time for Programiz quiz. Comment your answer below. See you in the next video. Happy programming!